Welcome back. In phase 1, we learned how workflows work at a basic level, how data enters the system, how it flows through nodes, and how an answer is produced. But real applications are not just linear pipelines. Users ask different kinds of questions. They may upload files, they expect the system to react differently based on the context. In this phase, we move from basic structure to practical control. We will introduce nodes that allow workflows to understand intent, extract structured information, and interact with the real world. By the end of phase 2, you will be able to design workflows that feel intentional, not accidental. Let's start with a very common problem. A user can ask different kinds of questions in natural language. Some questions are about information, some are about actions, some are completely unrelated. Without classification, a workflow has no idea what kinds of question it is handling. The question classifier does not answer questions, it only decides what kind of question this is. Alright, now let's look at our first node in phase 2, the question classifier. This is the first time our workflow does not behave the same way for every user input. Up to now, everything we built was linear. Input goes in, logic runs, and output comes out. The question classifier is where the workflow starts making decisions. Imagine this workflow without a question classifier. No matter what the user asks, the system always follows the same path. That works for simple demos. But real users ask very different kinds of questions. Some questions are technical, and some may be business, and some don't fit at all. Before we can answer a question, we first need to understand what kind of question it is. So let's click into the question classifier and see what it actually does. You can go to the workspace again and go into this app, which is called A, and you will see a user input right here. So let's connect it with a question classifier. Okay, so the input variable here comes directly from the user input node. In our case, this is the user's request. Let's see, we have a put a user request as an input variable. Okay, and here we just put the variables in this input variable. Okay, and then you will see the class. Here we can define like 3 classes. For example, the first class is technical problems. The second is business problems, and third is like other questions. Okay, so these are not the prompts. We're not telling the model how to answer. We're just only telling it how to recognize the intent. So now let's go back to the workflow view. You can see that each class create a different path, right? So only one path will be executed. So workflow does not go through all of them. So let's just try to connect it with an output. For the first one, technical problem, just choose it and makes a variable becomes a class name. Also for the output 2, we put the class name to be variable again, and class 3 also an output. So that's a variable, and let's have a test to see its answers. So first of all, let's verify the class 1. We can ask, how do I integrate Dify with an API? Let's see what the answer is. Alright, this looks like a technical question, so the workflow follows the first pass, right? And let's try the other one to verify the output 2. How can Dify help my company reduce the cost. Okay. Okay, so this time the workflow chooses a business question pass. And let's try the third one. So just tell me a joke. Okay, this does not fit the first two categories, so it falls back to other questions. Now you have handled how to use the question classifier. So, at this point, our workflow has learned how to make decisions. It can look at a user's message and choose different paths based on intent. But notice something. The classifier only tells us which path to take. It does not prepare any content, and it does not structure any output. After routing, we still need a way to assemble information into a usable form. And this is where the next node comes in. In the next lesson, we will look at the template node. It does not make decisions, and it does not think. Instead, it helps us format and combine data from early steps into structured text that other nodes or the user can actually use. I will see you in the next video.